Welcome to Straight Talk, where we engage Kenya's brightest minds in the issues facing our nation. I'm your host, Yvonne Chege. Today we wish to discuss the state of the nation, most especially issues of social cohesion, democracy, and the economy. And to do that, we're joined by a person who not only has excelled professionally, but also been nominated as a senator to the National Assembly. Former senator and architect, Madam Sylvia Kasanga. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's quite a portfolio when you think architect and member of National Assembly. How did that happen?
Oh, wow. In fact, you forgot to add that I'm also an arbitrator and a mental health champion.
Wow.
I'm actually an award-winning mental health champion. But more importantly, how did I get into Senate? The long and the short. You have to participate with the political parties. Mm-hmm. That is the avenue to power. And, I like speaking to young people to explain to them, if you want to get into these spaces of power, the Constitution is very clear on the avenues that you have to go into. So you find a political party that you identify with and you put in some time. It's an investment you have to make. Yeah, you have to put in time, you have to work, you have to support your party. By the time you can find yourself having a nomination therein. Mm-hmm. So there you go. I got the nomination in 2017 by the Wiper Democratic Movement then,
yes,
which has now changed to the Wiper Patriotic Front.
So you mean to say then, prior to your nomination in 2017, you had worked within your community, within your profession, to ensure your leadership position within the community?
Absolutely. Your party has to feel your presence. Mm-hmm. So you're supporting them in whichever way. Mm-hmm. You can do community. I work a lot with the young people. So a lot of mobilization around the young people back at home, especially because the Wiper Democratic Movement at that time was most visible in the lower eastern region. So a lot of projects and a lot of things you do with the young people, but for the party. That way the party can feel your presence and that you're pushing for the agenda amongst the people.
And that then led to your nomination in 2017. And you served up until 2022. A very interesting time to be a senator, I can only imagine.
It was a very interesting time. It was challenging coming from a professional front. I'm very much a professional. And the community work I do for me is my CSR. It's what I do for giving back to the community, which I linked then with my political party. So I'm very much a professional and I never stopped being in my office, even when I was in parliament. Mm-hmm. In fact, I would wake up at my office and I would end my day at my office. And I went on to do everything that I do professionally, which was good because when the politics ends, because we keep saying these seats are transient. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not meant to go there and decide it is yours to keep.
Oh, it's not?
It's not yours to
keep. I think the Kenyan mentality is that you can keep
it. That's a problem. These things are transient. You're supposed to go serve and be ready to exit should the people decide it's your time to go. Mm-hmm. And you should be appreciative of having had the opportunity to serve. And a 5-year term is a very short term. Mm-hmm. So when you get that opportunity to sit in that seat, you don't have time. You have to think clearly, what am I going to do? What mark am I going to leave? What change am I going to make for the people?
And you did have very instrumental moments within your time in those 5 years. For one, you were forefront of the COVID-19 regulations during the period of COVID.
Yes, indeed. I had even forgotten that. I think center for me was the mental health campaign, which I'm particularly proud of because then we passed a law on mental health and the country never had a law since 1989. Mm-hmm. So to have a modern mental health law that is completely tuned to the new constitution and the Bill of Rights and giving people living with mental illness dignity is one of the things I'm most proud of. And it's now celebrated on a continental level.
Then that would highlight as a highlight of your campaign during Senate. Not campaign, but period in Senate.
My period in Senate is marked by the mental health campaign. Mm-hmm. COVID was a fantastic opportunity as well. When the country shut down, we were the only committee that was working at that time. Mm-hmm. Lots of learning. I can tell you lots of learning in that period. Interacting with the national government and national response team at that time was fantastic and asking tough questions to the then minister and his team. We did a lot of learning and a lot of impact.
But even just to create laws that didn't exist, like COVID was entirely new for the entirety of the world.
Imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And we had a fantastic committee We worked so well together. We didn't sleep, actually, for the period which we were working. There was no sleeping. Thank God for technology, because everything was online. But we were able to make serious ripples within that period of time.
But like you say, then your highlight was then your work for mental health.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That was the absolute highlight. And to this day, like I said, it is the Act of Parliament, that is the Mental Health Amendment Act of 2022, is celebrated on a continental level. I'm actually sought after by the Africa Center of Disease Control to advise other African countries on how to make legislation for mental health. That is how big that was. Back at home here, there are questions. Let me just say, we have laws, as always in Kenya. We have all the beautiful things, but the people are still suffering. Yeah, this month, October is usually Mental Health Month, and we did celebrate the Mental Health Week with the government. They had the second Mental Health Conference that was very well attended and very well mobilized. And we agreed as a country, yes, we have ticked several boxes that many other countries have long to do. But the fact remains, and the statistics show, that Kenyans are still suffering. So why? And this is the issue that as a country we struggle. We are good at the paperwork. We are good at the policy. But why is it that the people don't feel the impact of these things? Why is it that Kenyans don't feel the impact of the investments that we are trying to make? So the question is, how is our implementation? It always boils down to, are we doing what needs to be done for the people?
Perhaps that's a very interesting reflection about Kenyan society in general. We have a lot of laws in place, and yet implementation and how those laws operate don't quite translate.
A lot of lethargy. A lot of lethargy towards doing the things that then bring absolute impact to the people. And for mental health, there is a level of intentionality that is required by an administration of the day to say that I must have the people that I lead be mentally well, because then they will be productive. A happy and mentally well person is a highly productive person. When you're not mentally well, you are not productive. Right now, Kenyans are suffering, and the statistics show, the suicide rates have never been higher. The anxiety levels have never been higher. Our social media is abuzz with activities and things that just drive your blood pressure up, no matter who you are. Yes. And I tell you, we were just speaking earlier before we started, you just scroll and you completely lose focus on what you're doing, because something will make you angry. Yeah, something will distract you from what you're trying to do. And by the time you get your focus back, you've lost time, you've lost money, and the opportunity to be more productive. So the question on mental health is so significant. Today, if any leader decided to run their politics on a promise of mental wellness for this country, in my view, that would be a winning ticket as it is.
Well, mental well-being comes along with financial well-being as well. Like there's many factors that come with that.
Yes.
And for all of that to come into place, perhaps we discuss how the Kenyan government system is, we've said, for one, we're not really looking after our mental health. What other weaknesses do you feel exist within our Kenyan governance system?
Yeah, there you go. One of the major social determinants, like you said, of mental health is your finances, the economy of the state. Because as long as you have no money, it's very difficult to concentrate on anything or be happy, because we live in a society, globally, a society that money is at the center of how we live. And how do you dissociate yourself with the amount of money in your pocket is something that everyone needs some significant training on.
And not even that, let me tell you, the youth have been told all you need is to go to school, get a degree.
Yeah.
And once you get a degree, there's no job.
Yes.
So what happens after that? And then mental health comes into place. If you can't pay your bills, if you can't support yourself, if you have people who have medical needs back at home, that then lends to where mental health creeps in,
begins to
especially amongst the youth.
Yes. So why I emphasize on mental health is so that we can look at everything now backwards. What do we need to do so that the Kenyans can have happy or well, can be well mentally? Of course, the economy is the first thing. We are struggling with the economy. For the last, 10 to 15 years, this country has been struggling with an economy. In fact, if you ask Kenyans, the last time we felt the economy being, good, such that everyone was busy focused on their jobs, was 2000 to 2007. That first time. And a little bit after, of course, the skirmishes of 2007, once the country settled down, then you could have said there was a little bit right in there up to 2013. But from 2013 onwards till today, it almost feels like we've been on a downward trajectory.
What do you
when
think
it comes to economy?
What do you think then the government should do to address youth unemployment?
It all boils down again to what are our economic policies? Because they're supposed to be enabling to the point that they are creating jobs. It's shocking, honestly, that we have enough economists in this country. I always say Kenya celebrates the best human resource in Africa. You can say that openly. You can say Kenyans human resource the best in Africa. We export Kenyans globally. I mean, I've spoken in so many countries, in so many forums, and everywhere I go, I'll always find a Kenyan who is high level doing something amazing.
And they always say
They're
Kenyans
leaders.
are so hardworking.
We are hardworking.
They are always so attentive to detail. Like,
Exactly.
just, there's never a bad criticism against Kenyans.
When it comes to human resource, Kenyans, we are on point. But why is it here at home?
We can't do that.
There's a disconnect. We can't sort out our economic issues. Why is it that we struggle with creating jobs, yet, some of these things are tried, tested, you have enough experts around this? What is it? Why is it that we are not creating industries? We know how to expand economies, is creating industries. How do you create industries? Enabling environments, drop the cost of production, drop the cost of power, drop this. But we are not doing any of that. If anything, the government of the day is doing the opposite. We are paying more for fuel. We are paying more for electricity. So industries then can never grow. Then there are no jobs. So our youth are sitting there.
But also overtaxation.
There's overtaxation. The other day I told a taxman, these days they call you. They call you. You delay posting your pay as you want by one day, they call you. Because the first they have sent you 4 emails to remind you.
Yes.
Then when you don't pay on time, they call you. So this guy calls me and says, you've not yet paid you. I said, okay, but there was a public holiday and another public holiday. When was I supposed to pay? Now is when I'm in the office. Oh, yes, I understand, but you're supposed to pay. I said to him, I'm going to close this business because I'm feeling harassed right now.
So for you then, it's to encourage government to have more policies that strengthen the environment to do business. Like you say, reduce the cost of power.
It has to be.
Yes.
If we are going to expand the space for young people to get work, we have to drop the cost of production. We have to encourage manufacturing. We have to encourage startups. The young people are very good at starting up businesses, technology, and things like that. We have to create an environment where they can do their startups. It has to be intentional. It's an intentionality that somebody somewhere in a high office is concerned about the mental wellness of his people. So he has to create an enabling environment such that people can afford the basic things in life. Same thing goes to healthcare. Why are we struggling with a universal healthcare system? Why? We are Kenyans, we are educated, we are learned, we have some of the best brains in the world. Why are we struggling with universal healthcare? Why is there start, stop, change laws, new laws, whatnot? Why can't we just provide health for the people?
Perhaps then the easy answer would be corruption. Yes,
obviously,
we have a deep-rooted problem with corruption.
Yes.
How do we tackle that? Because it's a promise we've been. It's a song we have sang over and over and over again, and yet somehow the menace exists with us to this day. What would you do if you were in government?
Sometimes, and I like when I think you'll hear leaders say, Lee Kuan Yew transformed Singapore. We've seen China become a technology powerhouse. In our generation, imagine a country of how many billions of people transforming within our time, within a generation to unbelievable, heights. And
yes, prosperity for all their people, not just for the top.
Not just for the top.
Yes.
They're pulling everybody up. Then anything is possible if there's intentionality. My view about our Kenyan leadership is that they're not intentional in pulling up Kenyans. It has been about personal benefits.
Neo-colonialism at work.
Only. That is the problem with our leadership. And unfortunately for us Kenyans, we have some of these habits that have creeped down to every level. Sometimes I keep saying, don't even point at your leaders, because who you're electing is completely the reflection of who you are as a people. All right? This leader has not served me in 5 years. Why are we putting him in office again the next 5 years? You know, those sort of questions.
But also, we also envision ourselves in that position. You know, I think that's why I say neo-colonialism, because we want to lead without pulling our people up by the bootstraps as well. Yes.
We have these challenges.
Yes.
Maybe one day, or hopefully in the slightly near future, we have a leader who gets to the top and decides, you know what? Only for the people. And he's no nonsense. He's not joking. And he says, only for the people. And he cracks the whip to that extent. Refuses to compromise all our institutions. Because that's the other thing. Because these leaders we have currently in power, because they're doing things for themselves, they compromise the systems. By the whole parliament, so that then you can pass whatever laws that you want.
Okay.
DCI, you put in your friends. So you will only charge the cases that you want to charge, right? Let's look at all our institutions,
Just a compromise of
it's
the
a
entirety
compromise
of the system.
entirety of the system. And you see, when the system is not working, then obviously nothing is working. You can have the best laws, you can have everything good, but then it is not working for the people. What happens if we one time left the system to work? I know it sounds, what's the word? It sounds...
idealistic.
Idealistic, yes. I know it sounds absolutely idealistic, yeah? But what if we just let it happen?
They say that Kenya has the most progressive constitution, the best constitution
that's what
in the world.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying, what if we just let it operate as it envisioned?
Yeah. And we just make sure the Auditor General we put in there is qualified, doing their work, and we give them their money. In fact, we make sure the Auditor General office is very well resourced, because under the Constitution, the Auditor General's office is supposed to do quite a lot of work. Yeah, actually, that docket is busy. It's a busy docket. And I remember when I was in Parliament, you would call her to give you audits. I remember when we were doing COVID, give us the COVID reports on how counties have used their COVID monies, and she'll say, oh my goodness, we are so under-resourced. We'll need like a month and a half. And you're like, we don't have a month and a half. I need this in everything was unfolding so quickly. And she says, I'll have to pull out resources from here to bring here so that we can. These are the offices that need to be very well resourced, because they are the custodians for Kenyans on looking at how money is being spent. Public money is being spent. You need those audits and you need those reports. Imagine if we had a parliament that was not compromised. A national parliament that did not have CDF. This thing called CDF is finishing our National Assembly. It's unconstitutional. It does not matter what we do. Even if we go and do a referendum and bring it back, it will be the wrong thing. Because under our constitution, the parliamentarians at National Assembly are supposed to be oversighting the national government. And they're supposed to be making laws and doing their parliamentary work, not oversighting money that is going to projects. That is the work of the county government.
So from what I'm hearing, there is the Constitution envisions the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature as very separate institutions.
Absolutely.
And yet somehow currently the system is operating in a manner that blurs.
Mishmash.
Yes, that separation.
That lack of separation is one of the things that is ailing our country. It is really unfortunate when you see parliamentarians being coerced and going into State House, I don't know to do what. Which other serious government does that?
That's an intentional meddling.
Kuchochea, meddling.
Yes.
What if our parliament was not interfered with? Imagine that. And there's a time this country, during Moi's time, when parliamentarians, allow me to say this, when they had balls and guts, and that authoritarian president, they didn't fear, because of course in parliament you have you've been given the privilege to speak as a parliamentarian freely. And you would hear the parliamentarians then, when the Orengos and the Railas were in parliament that time, and they were firebrands, and they would speak and fight, for Kenyans. Where are those parliamentarians today? They're just busy doing their CDF business. That's why there's usually no quorum in parliament. In fact, our parliament is a shame. Quorum is a problem because they're out there doing their things. What if our parliament just did what it was meant to do? What if our county assembly just did what they're meant to do? I think we would enjoy the fruits of our new constitution, which we have never enjoyed it in full. We've never really felt the fullness of our new constitution.
Or just
we only feel bits and pieces.
To actualize the constitution as envisioned.
Yeah. So even when sometimes we are saying, we need to amend this, we are trying to amend something that you have not even fully operationalized to get the full feeling of it and then say, okay, indeed, we need to change this and this. And so I have a problem with that. And I believe that is the challenge we have in our governance system. As long as the three arms of government are not operating clearly, maybe the only constitutional change I would say we need on an urgent basis is removing the treasury from national government and giving it an independent office of its own, so that the president is not always his hand is in the cookie jar, because he has appointed the treasury minister.
Yes.
There's some independence that is needed around where.
But again,
our monies
like
are
you said,
concerned.
it's about intentionality.
It's about
A person with bad intention can always meddle the system to work in the way in which
to his favor.
Yes, and that's what we're really seeing at the moment.
Exactly.
Along those lines, we saw, we've been seeing some tragic events within Kenya and also East Africa as well. Abductions, suppression of protests, live ammunition fired at protesters. What are your thoughts about this current trend?
Yeah.
Yes.
What an unfortunate trend in East Africa right now. It's like the three presidents have sat down and decided, what? This is what we are going to do here in East Africa. It's terrible. What a retrogression of progress that we should see this happening.
And that falls in line with the Constitution as well.
Yeah.
Enforcing what was envisioned in the Constitution. Freedom to assembly, freedom to protest.
We have our Bill of Rights. We have one of the most comprehensive Bill of Rights
yes, we do.
Globally. So to see a clawback on some of these rights and freedoms is a real travesty. And actually, Kenyans should be very wary of such scenarios where we are seeing dictatorial and authoritarian systems wanting to creep back into our societies, and we should never allow for that. These are the times when I say, if it means we stop everything we are doing and just fight to make sure these things don't happen, this is the time.
But if our leaders don't fight for us, yes, those who we elect to put in place these fights and these protections for the general public, if they're not fighting for us, what are we supposed to do about that?
We're supposed to elect the right people. You see, this is a thing with us.
it's like it's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
Yes.
It's a cycle. When you elect the people who are not really working for you, you've been hoodwinked by the stories of somebody on a podium. He comes and hoodwinks you and tells you nice stories. They get into parliament or into a high office, and immediately that the truth reveals that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, we have mechanisms. Okay, our recall mechanisms, have never been, finalized or fulfilled.
Yes,
there's always that, yeah. But the ballot is also coming next time. And the thing with Kenyans is this, when IBC, for instance, made the call that now people can go and register and pick their voters' cards, right? I'm surprised with the numbers that we are getting on a weekly basis. It's so low. We have a target of about 8 million young new voters, and those who didn't, participate in the last election, and we are hoping that they can come and pick their voters' card, so that we have an extra 8 million people of a demographic that is demanding change. We saw them demanding change. In fact, for us, the older generation, we watched with awe because they are brave, they are bold. They came out and said, no, enough of this, no finance bill nonsense. They have taught themselves, they've done civic education in the social media platforms, things that the country stopped doing a long time ago. They have done it, and they've come out and they've said, no, we are not going to have this whether they were arranged or not arranged, all those, there's all stories that are around what happened with the Gen Z revolution. The fact remains the revolution happened, and it was for the people. It was a revolution that was fighting for the people, because our people representatives have failed to do so.
Yes, I fully agree with that. The issue then with Gen Zs is they're like, well, as much as we're told to go out and get our voters card and line up and vote, the ballot really doesn't reflect what happens on the ground. Somebody tells you one thing 5 years and it completely disappears the second this person comes into parliament. So what's into legislative office? What's the motivation behind taking your voter's card and lining up to vote, whether it takes you 5 hours or 10 hours? What do you?
Motivation is, do we want a country or do we not want a country? The fact remains the Constitution, this is the avenue the Constitution has given towards our leadership and our governance. And there's nothing we can do about that. We cannot change that. We have to take the vote. We have to elect people to get into office to run our country. So therefore, we have no choice. If it means every 5 years we have a new administration, so be it. And that's how it should be. Actually, it should be such that every 5 years, remove everybody. What's wrong with that? One term, everyone. One term, until the right leaders come. Because this is the only way. There's no any other way we can govern our country unless we have a new constitution.
I like that. A belief in the system. Our constitution has put in place a particular system.
Exactly.
And we follow what the system says.
Just follow the system. We follow it to the letter. And there's nothing wrong with having one term, until the day we have leaders who are representing us as Kenyans. But, we need to remember that it is the only avenue towards governance is through the vote. There's no any other avenue, because this is what our constitution prescribes. So we must take that vote. We must go out and vote. There's no two way. If we want a country for ourselves, that is the only avenue. My encouragement is that let's keep doing it every year until we find the right people.
Okay, it's a great ideal, and I really do believe that. However, our leaders, our political leaders, have found a way to manipulate that using tribal and ethnic lines as a way to control, a voting bloc.
Yeah.
And that has been a very effective methodology in Kenyan politics.
Yes.
How do we evolve past that? Because I know Gen Z say, tribeless, leaderless. But on year 5, somehow our ethnicity and our tribe always come into the way we vote. How do we fight that?
It plays out. I think, again, as you notice from my conversations, I'm a very optimistic person. I'm usually very optimistic because I believe in our nation. I believe in our people. Now, one thing that is going to change significantly going forward is the fact that we have social media. You remember the governor who spoke, Governor Mutahi. Remember Governor Mutahi who spoke and he had to step down from being vice chair of the COG? Mm-hmm. Because he spoke in confidence with his people, to his people in their language, thinking that the world is not seeing, thinking that Kenyans cannot hear. Because that's probably how he's used to mobilizing, is by speaking to his people about them only. And, you remember what the governor said. But shock unto him that the video was played and circulated in Kenya within 3 hours. A TikTok has done a full round in Kenya. Within 3 hours, it has done a full round. It has been translated. It has gone round. And everyone has said, what nonsense is this? Besides the insensitivity, that a rallying of a community, he was called out for that. These are the things that will change our nation. And thank God, again, for how well-connected Kenyans we are. Mm-hmm. These are the things that will change how politics is going to unfold going forward.
To call out our leaders when...
Yes, the tribal thing, when they're using the tribal card, because that is not the direction the country needs to go. Mm-hmm. Fine, I do understand a lot of us Kenyans, and this is a debate we were having in a different forum the other day. If I've grown in Kathonzweni, in Makueni, and have never traveled out, I've never traveled out, yeah? So the only thing I know is Kathonzweni Makueni and my local leaders. Yeah, why politics is local. Politics is local,
yes.
and it must start local.
It is.
So which means then in that case, His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka is probably the only leader I can speak to that I know of, yeah? And because he comes from my local setting.
Yes.
All right? And for Kalonzo to get a meaningful piece of the pie at the national table, he has to come home and say, hey, you guys, see, I'm going for you up there.
He needs to show that he has some sort of power.
I have my base.
Yes.
And unfortunately, my base is an ethnic
group.
Base.
Yes.
You see, that's where now our politics gets muddled.
Yes.
But I want to assure you that even that is going to be dismantled within the next 2 elections. The passing of Baba, and may his soul rest in peace, was truly the end of an era. Baba was one of the few people who could probably command a constituency beyond Nyanza. Mombasa, even Ukambani, we used to vote for him because the ideals of ODM and Wiper would align.
We were very aligned, yes.
Yeah, so we would happily, fight and vote with Baba, that sort of a thing. He's probably the only one who could do that.
A unifying factor across many regions.
Huge. Yeah. Baba is the only one who could come out and tell Kenyans, cool down, calm down. It doesn't matter what has happened. Let's be forgiving. The nation is bigger than anybody. Everyone cool down. Let's go back to work. And we would go back to work. Would be in pain, would be angry, but we would go back to work. Would sometimes even hate him for it. Sometimes would be angry. He has gone and done a handshake. Oh, we get angry. And then, all the conspiracy theories will go around. But the fact remained that for him, the nation was always bigger. So then we all cool down and we go back to work and we are at peace. Always tittering on the brink of what could have been the worst, but Baba brings us back. And I consider that end of an era. The days of kingpins is coming to an end, in my view. Is actually an era coming to an end. We are going to come to a time in politics where you speak to the people, you tell them what you offer the people, and the people give you the mandate. No more kingpin who says, it is this one, it is this one, it is this one. That era, in my view, is coming to an end. In fact, in the next 2 elective cycles, I believe that is coming to an end. Nobody can replace Baba's shoes. Our party leader, is SKM Kalonzo Musyoka, is the only one who can galvanize Ukambani the way it is today. Yeah. When he becomes president and he's done with his term, I want to assure you there will not be another Mkamba coming up to say, I'm the kingpin of Ukambani. It's never going to happen. So that era is quickly coming to an end.
You speak very well. Having served up until 2022, perhaps you have aspirations coming up in the next general election.
This next election is a critical election. If you're not relevant in this one, it's okay. Go back to what you're doing. Support from the sidelines, and we always need the people who can also support from the sidelines. But I want to be part of this transformation of the country that is inevitable. I want to be part of that transformation, and this is the time. I've always been scared to get into elective politics. Yes, it has taken me a long time to internalize that I'm going to go for an elective post. It's never easy for women. That fact is there. But we have to do it. We can't also be scared. I'm going in faith that Kenyans are ready for serious leadership. I'm going in because I feel Kenyans now no longer want stories and dancing on the podium. Mm-hmm. They want action. They want people who can bring meaningful transformation and change. That is what I'm going with. I cannot dance on the podium. I cannot wiggle my bum on the podium. That I'm not going to do. I cannot go to the podium and hurl insults at my competitor. Mm-hmm. That I cannot do. I'll go and tell the Kenyans, this is what I can do for you. And I want to do it. If they don't give me the seat, then they're not ready. And I'll say, fine. Actually, I'll go back to my profession.
That's a very good attitude
I'll just go
towards
back to my
it.
Profession.
Let's take this job a little more seriously, right? Yeah. My ability to dance on stage doesn't necessarily qualify me for an elective post.
It doesn't.
Yes.
And this is what I'm hoping Kenyans are beginning to learn. That just because I come, I'm a firebrand and I hurl insults at everyone who's my competitor, does not mean that I will do for you good representation. I hope Kenyans are learning that. If they're not learning that, then woe unto them, because we'll still be in this unfortunate vicious cycle.
We deserve what
Yes,
we get.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'll present myself as who I am, the professional who I am. The fact that I have been to a seat of power and I have really represented the people and done some significant transformation, and that is what I will do for them. And if it's not enough for them, then it is fine. I have my profession. I'll go back to my office, and I'll be grateful that at least I can look back and say, I tried. As opposed to me sitting in my office thinking, maybe I should try, maybe I shouldn't try, no. I will have the satisfaction that I gave it my shot, the people said no. So let me resume my work. And all is well. And then I can continue.
If you were elected, what vision would you put in place for Kenya in the next 20 years? What would you aspire to?
Just let's implement the Constitution as it is. Let us respect the Constitution. Until we get to see what the fullness of the vision of the Constitution is, we cannot say we have even begun to enjoy its fruits as such. Let's just work towards that first. And I'm hoping whoever is the next president can just, respect that Constitution as it is and let it work in its fullness so that we can begin to see that fullness of it. Because all the vices we talk about, corruption, whatnot, everything is addressed in our Constitution. It's just the intentionality of rolling out that Constitution that is lacking, because people are doing things for themselves. Everything is addressed in that Constitution. Let me tell you, Kenyans have addressed everything. All the issues we complain about are very well addressed in the Constitution. But because of interference, chronism, stomach first attitudes, we interfere everywhere. You interfere everywhere. You interfere everywhere.
And you're saying then to fix this, yes, the cure is with the Kenyan voter, the individual Kenyan voter.
Your vote. That's it.
That's it.
There's no any other avenue, unfortunately.
Fortunately or unfortunately, we hold the power. I think we just don't understand that power.
Yes. We don't realize how powerful we are. That is what the issue is. We don't realize that every 5 years you can have a new administration from top to bottom to the village level. You can have a new administration every 5 years until you have an administration that is respectful of the Constitution.
That works for you.
Period.
And if they don't, you change them again.
That is it. And that's why a 5-year term is good. In fact, a 4-year term probably would have been better. The ones who try to imagine we should have a 7-year term are crazy. Even 4 years is adequate to demonstrate that you're doing things for people. Because it's such a short period of time. I think one of the biggest problems I've seen with some of these officers, and I've seen it with also a lot of governors, you want to get into office to do 20 things. You only have a 5-year term. You don't have time to do 20 things. You can pick an area of transformation and run with it. And support some of the programs of your predecessor. This is a big problem I've seen. Many times, a new administration comes and completely disregards the previous good things that were happening. So you start fresh new things and you leave things pending. Part of the reason you see a lot of pending bills, those are the challenges.
Or abandon the old projects and do new things.
Start new things. Of course, you have to get money for your cronies.
Yes.
Those are the challenges. And, if we move that mentality, we need to get out of that mentality and realize that a 5-year term is a short term. You can't do 20 things. Take what is working for the people. Why change it? If it's working, support it. Then find your transformation agenda. 1, 2, 3 things of impact you can produce in 5 years' time. Make that impact. Enough for people to say, okay, fine, we'll give you another 5-year term.
It's a root.
Or something like that.
It's a root of personality politics. You want to come in and make an impact right away. You also want to discredit your predecessor as well.
Yeah. And it doesn't take discrediting. I'll give you an example. If I'm a governor, I've come in, and the previous governor had, say, rolled out a universal healthcare that was working, and maybe he called it his name. you know, like now Muranga has Kangata care.
Yes, yes, yes.
And somebody else comes in, okay, I don't like Kangata.
Yes.
But does it mean you have to stop Kangata care? Maybe you can change its name if that's the issue.
And name it after yourself.
Name it after yourself.
But keep the program going.
The program going because it's already working for the people. And because it's working, your work is to just make sure the finances are ring-fenced to keep that project running. You find yourself now a project for yourself now that you can name yourself. If the issue is about naming yourself, which I don't understand, why we have this thing, I have to name myself, I don't understand. You should wait for people to name you because you have made such impact, you know, for them. They will name you if you've done well.
Yes.
But anyway,
yes,
run with a project or 2 or 3 of impact while supporting what is already working. But we have this problem where every new government that comes in at the county level, you want to stop everything that was happening before. All the projects that were running, yes, because they were that governor's friends who are doing the projects, so you stop everything and then you start new ones. It's a very defeatist attitude, which we need to grow out of. And remember that everything that you stop is affecting the same Kenyan whose vote you want, whose lifestyle you have affected. Every project that is stalled, every money is not paid to a contractor has an ecosystem around him, which is now obviously affected. This is where the mental health issues now start kicking in. So an intentional leader will come and say, okay, fine. This microenvironment is already going on. It's working. I don't need to, affect it. Let it at least finish its process for the benefit of the people. All right? Let it finish its process. Then you can start some other projects that are now also beneficial to the people. So I think it's about intentionality. I keep saying it's about being intentional that you want the goodness of the people. You're there for the people. So you will not make decisions that affect the wellness of the people at any one time, regardless of who was there before.
To remember your mandate, because I don't think anyone gets into politics. It's hard enough.
It is tough
to campaign, but you really get into it with the intention of trying to change people's lives and the people that you know in your immediate environment, I think as we begin to wrap up, perhaps tell us, what has you being a professional architect, how will you bring that in to your career now, your blossoming career in politics?
Oh my goodness, let me tell you one thing I forgot to mention. One of the conversations that I'm having in the professional space is reminding the professionals that they too must play politics. Architecture is politics. When I say that, first I get a stare and I say,
yeah, I'm wondering, what do you mean? Please expound.
Is politics.
Yeah.
When we're celebrating Katiba at 15, I wrote a piece, which I shared. I wrote a piece that if the Katiba had a physical form, not the book, if the Katiba had a general physical form, it would be the cities and the towns that we live in. It would be the physical buildings, the infrastructure that exists within us, that helps us with our everyday life. The fact that our city, start with Nairobi here, is in chaos, planning chaos, building chaos, drainage chaos, lack of infrastructure, lack of expansion, no plan. Yeah, City Hall is approving buildings without plans.
Development, yes.
In itself is a desecration of the Constitution, because the Constitution is very clear on the mandate of physical planning and the rights that the people have to housing, healthy water, infrastructure, amongst other things, which our country is not providing. Now, architects are the center of that physical space.
Absolutely.
So that's why I say architecture is
politics.
And when we sit in our offices and in our little bubbles, imagining that politics should be done by other people, I ask them, who are these other people who should do these politics? Who should be at City Hall right now? Who should be running City Hall right now, if not an architect who understands the importance of urban planning, the importance of a house that has ventilation, that gets morning sun, that has a ground where your child can play, that looks into your mental wellness and your psychology. Have you seen the houses in pipeline?
Your sewer system, your road systems, all of that. Yes.
It builds to your mental wellness, and it is part of the Constitution. It's a constitutional mandate. So I asked them, who is supposed to be running Nairobi County today, if not a professional who understands?
Especially when talking about planning and development of the city. In fact, any city, not just Nairobi.
A city is about planning. Everything about a city is about planning, which takes professionals. So I asked them, who is this person who's supposed to come and run a city, if not a professional? And this is where we are making a mistake as professionals of imagining that you'll sit here,
someone else will
and
do
wait
the
for
work.
some guy random to come and run for you the city, and you will be satisfied.
Or you'll be appointed to do the work without having to run for the positions.
There you go. So our professionals must engage in politics. It's a conversation, it's creeping in very nicely. A lot of the professionals are beginning to understand that. I can tell you, for instance, the doctors have understood. Right now, our doctors have suffered in this country, honestly. That doctors, they've done mandamano for the longest. I feel so sorry for our doctors, and something really needs to give. Some solution needs to come around the doctors. But I'll tell you now, doctors will be telling you that they have to run for office because they realize the importance of being in the policy-making space. You cannot leave it for other people.
But also, again, there's also a requirement then that those we put into place hire or appoint people in positions in which they are qualified for.
Correct.
Yes? Not just
correct
political appointments, but if somebody is in charge of health, you should have ideally a knowledge in health. If it's planning, you should have an engineering background or some sort that relates to what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. It is so frustrating right now for professionals to sit back and just watch the various governments at both levels, rolling out whatever they're rolling out, disregarding the space of the professional.
And the money exists.
It is terrible.
The money is spent, and there's
this country has enough money.
Actualization of the ideas.
Yeah, this country has enough money.
Too much, in fact.
Yeah. We have watched the affordable housing program, which is a pet project of this government, roll out with very little minimal input of the professional. In fact, the professional is relegated to a corner there. We beg for audience. It's the worst thing. You cannot run a country like that. So the word is since they don't realize and they don't want to appreciate the space of the professional, can the professional then be the one to be in that policy space? Enough of writing memorandum, because that's all we do. From the professional associations, the most you can do is write memorandum, go to parliament, present your memorandum, hope that it will be taken seriously because you're a professional and a key stakeholder. So, but what if they don't take it seriously because they think you professionals, I don't know how. There's an impression of professionals, whatever. We have to run for those offices. We have to be in the policy-making space ourselves. Enough of writing memorandum, enough of doing mandamano. Roll up your sleeves, professionals. Let's get into the mud. That space cannot be left for others.
I love that. I really do. Actually, as we do wrap up, if I was going to ask you what message you would leave with those who are watching Straight Talk, I think the first one would be we have to be the ones to run for elective office, however challenging that might be. What else would you advise those out there?
Vote, vote, vote. Get your voter's card and never get tired of voting. We cannot get tired of voting and we cannot give up. This is our nation. This is our country. I can't imagine my children having to grow up in a foreign country because I'm scared of them being in this country. No, we have a great nation. The nation that is the Kenyan people. Remember, the people make the nation. The Kenyan people, we are a great people. When I am out there abroad, Kenya is trending. We trend over so many things. We trend at professionalism. In arbitration circles where I am very active, we are trending everywhere. You go to Paris, Hamburg, Kenyans trending. Kenyans doing very well, ICSID and others. You go to Africa, like right now we are doing mental health campaigns across Africa. Sierra Leone, West Africa, where Kenyans, we are an amazing people. We should not be unhappy in our own home ground. And it is us who have the power. And we must assume that power through the vote. So my message is, let's not get tired. Let us vote. And let's always be looking out for the right leaders. Vote. If it means one term for the next 20 years, one term, until we get the right person. That's my message.
I love that. A rallying call to Kenyans out there, not just to know how wonderful of a constitution we have, but just to believe in the system by exercising your vote.
Absolutely.
Regardless of how hopeless you feel.
Yes.
Simply just do that one act as a Kenyan.
Yes.
Thank you, Sylvia Kasanga,
Yeah.
for joining us for this discussion. It's been wonderful to get to know you.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing where we shall be voting for you and in what position.
Keep talking.
Yes,
we'll keep talking.
please.
Yeah, we'll keep talking. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for watching Straight Talk. I am your host, Yvonne Chege. Do tune in again.